Welcome to Daily Plunge. We are in the book of Daniel, chapter 3, verses 19 through 30. Now, after Meshach and Abednego and Shadrach will not bow to the 90-foot silly golden idol, right? King Nebuchadnezzar loses his mind. He is so mad. He's furious with their faith. And what he's mad about is their obstinate refusal to bow down to him, their obstinate refusal and denial of him, right? And the world hates faith. The world wants your devotion. The world wants you to be dedicated to it. And so he heats up the furnace 7 times what it normally is, right? That's how fierce and furious the hatred is of faith in this world. And where these 3 guys are thrown in, clothes and all, and survive that, right? The guys who throw them in, who open the doors, the heat is so great it kills them. And I want you to recognize about how, as Christians, so often we will take heat for our faith. And that the same heat that sort of impacts us would just wither somebody else. Now, these 3 guys are inside the furnace, and who shows up? Right? There's a 4th guy in the furnace. Who is it? It is Christ, who is our Savior and protector, and he is there with them in the fire. And isn't that what Jesus does, right? He takes the fire for us. He takes on hell so that it doesn't burn us, right? And what's interesting is they went in bound, but they're unbound and unharmed. And again, that's what the Son of God does for us. He unbinds us from sins. He unbinds us from sin and makes us unharmed, right? In the midst of the withering fire that's going on because of the world's hatred against him and against faith. And I want you to ask you is, what immense fire are you going through because of your faith? We all do. And to recognize and to call upon the Lord, to recognize that God is ready to be there for you to protect you from that fire. Now, they survive it. And Nebuchadnezzar is like, oh my gosh. And there's this really weird thing where Nebuchadnezzar was so filled with hatred, and he says, oh, praise to your God who sent in his angel, his servant, to rescue his servants. And it's sort of like a reluctant praise. Did Nebuchadnezzar really appreciate that these guys didn't bow down to them? Not likely, but he recognizes the strength of who they are. And I think that's one of the things we should recognize as Christians is we may not win over our detractors, but there's something to be said for winning their respect, that we will not bow down to them. And so then he says, therefore I decree that, no one should say anything against them. And this is really nothing more than religious tolerance. It's not that Nebuchadnezzar has found God at this point, found the God of Israel as his God. And then he says, verse 30, no other God can save in this way. And Nebuchadnezzar is speaking the truth. No other God can save you from the fiery furnace like the God who goes to the cross. Well, thanks, friends. Have a blessed day.